Howdy, Illuminators. In today's lesson, we are talking about desire. Not that kind of desire. Well, maybe. I guess that's up to you. One of the areas that I get a lot of questions in, and that I've certainly had questions in as well, has to do with desire. Is it okay to want X? Now, when asking this question, X is usually something outside of the perceived spiritual realm. So, is it all right to want serenity? That question is not one that comes to me often. It's more like, is it okay to want to make more money? Is it okay to want to be able to travel? Is it okay to want a promotion? Like those types. Is it okay to want a boat or to buy an airplane? Things that seem to be outside of the spiritual realm. Now, as illuminators, we know that we are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in the human condition. So there is no outside of the spiritual realm. There's no outside of our spiritual nature. There's perceived separation from time to time, but nothing really outside. So let's just clear that up right away. Let's also talk about good and bad. I don't think they exist. I think that we perceive some things to be positive or to serve us well or to serve humanity well, and some things that are seemingly not in service to us or that seem to be negative or don't seem to serve society. The truth is, we can't actually see the big picture. We have a very limited view when we are in the human condition. So we don't really know what's good and what's bad. We may use those terms as a way to discern what we want and don't want in our lives, but it's not to say that they're inherently good or bad. Money, in particular, is one area that seems to be the baddest, like the least spiritual. That money and spirit or things of a spiritual nature don't go together. I'd like to just squash that while we are here on the topic. And we'll do a whole other section on money as well. But money is part of the relative realm. The humans are all about it. It is a tool that is used in order to move about here in the relative realm and to exchange in order to get goods and services. That's all it is. Not that big of a deal. Now, we've turned it into a pretty big deal, but in and of itself, it's just energy in the form of sometimes actual cash, but oftentimes just numbers being exchanged. And we know, especially with the US system, we don't actually have anything backing up our money. It really is just numbers on a screen for the most part. So let's just bring it down a little bit. Money is useful, it is a beneficial tool, it's not the end all be all of existence. Now, it is a useful tool. It is a very useful tool while we're here that can be used from a spiritual centeredness in order to help society, to help the world, and to help others. Now, I don't just mean that by donating to charities or to your spiritual organization, but educating yourself now, working to raise your own level of consciousness, like we're all doing here in the Illuminatorium. Even going out to eat gives someone a job. It gives a lot of people a job, actually, not just those that we see at the restaurant, but everyone involved with the food being planted and grown and harvested and packaged and processed and transported. There's so many accountants involved in every single step of that. There's marketing people involved. There are regulation people involved. There's we would really have to go do an intense study to find out how many people are involved in us eating that one meal, not just the server. So that is really helping employ a lot of people when you go and have that meal out at your favorite restaurant. So even in these little ways, it is a tool that binds us all together and that helps each of us in our own ways. It also gives you choices. It gives you options of how you want to spend that money and who you want to support with your dollar or currency, wherever you are at. So money is not good or bad. It is useful, and believe me, I know it is hard to go without. We will do a whole other section on that, but let's just say the desire for money isn't necessarily or inherently bad, and no desires really are. So in the work that we do here, we believe that you can't truly desire something that isn't already yours in the absolute realm. So you can't want something that's not already supplied for you and awaiting your reception. So when you want something, when you have a desire for something, and there is a caveat, don't worry, that is the supply of that thing in the absolute realm working to manifest through you. So when you have a desire, know that it is already heading your way. You can block it, of course, you sure can, but it is trying to head your way. That's why you have the desire for it. So that's pretty good news. Now, yes, of course, you can block it, and there are a lot of things that we can do to make it impossible to receive and to block our access to that. But the desire for it is because it's already there for you. Now, there are some desires that will not be fulfilled, and they aren't really desires for what you're thinking. So let's say you desire your buddy's car and you are really coveting your friend's car. Now, you can't really desire that because it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. We can't desire things that don't belong to us. What you might be desiring is the things that you've connected with that car. Maybe it gives off the idea of high status, or maybe it's really comfortable and useful, and maybe it's not a luxury car, maybe it's a utility van, and who knows, but it's something within that you're desiring, not the actual vehicle itself, because that's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. It is not waiting for you to receive it in the other realm. So that is to say that when you have a desire for something, don't just go, oh, it's coming my way, it's okay that I have this desire, but investigate what is really underneath the desire. What are you really desiring? Is it actually more money, or is it the perceived security that comes from having X amount of numbers on your screen that's attached to your bank account? Are you really desiring a hip car, or are you desiring the perceived cool factor or status that comes with that? And if that's the case, then why do you desire that? And then when you get that answer, then just go a little deeper. Why do you desire that? And keep going until you get to your core desire. Now, that's going to have a couple of different effects. One, you're going to finally find the need that's really trying to be met, and that's really trying to manifest through you. And so that's going to eliminate a lot of desire for other things that are connected to that same core desire. So just like when we talk about doing our shadow work or doing that inner work and finding the actual thing, so then it doesn't keep popping up as fear or anger or any of that, same is true with desires. Find the actual core thing, meet that need in a healthy, positive, responsible way, if you're able to right now, and then all of the other things that appear to be desires will be eliminated. Now, you might get down to it and it really, you find the thing and you want that. Let's stick with money. Wanting money because it feels like security and because it's a really useful tool, and you've got some ideas for how you want to use that useful tool. It might be that in itself. And maybe that's, I want to be able to consciously consume from companies that I respect, and I want to be able to put my money there, and money talks in America. Well, what's really the desire underneath that? To be part of the collective positive impact, to be in service to others, to have a clear conscience, to be a leader in your community or in the global community. Those are all desires that underlie that simple one of, I want to be able to contribute to these companies or to these organizations or these charities or whatever it might be. if it is I want the security that comes with money, recognize that that's a perceived security. So if you're wanting security, it might need to come from another place that has lasting security, which for me is internal. It's that divine guidance, the connection to spirit, and that keeping that channel open so that we have access to spirit, the only one true truth in existence itself. And getting in there, then you can work on the actual core thing. Now, if you want something, I want more money because it's fun. I want to be able to travel. That adds to my life. That's beneficial. It's enjoyable. I like it. Okay, that's all right too. And particularly if you're not harming anyone or putting aside your convictions or your integrity or anything, get it. That's fine as well. I truly believe that our desires are built in as a way for our highest selves to communicate with us to get us to move in a particular direction. So maybe you want to buy an airplane and you just think that it would be really fun and you want to buy it, or you like flying. And so you go buy that airplane. But maybe in doing so, you meet someone who is crucial for you getting to the next stage of your path. Or maybe there's a time of crisis and they need emergency planes. I don't know if that's a thing, but it could be. And you're able to help in that moment. Maybe having that plane leads to your death, and that's part of your role here, and that works out that way. Then that's great. So I don't like the idea that anything outside of spiritual purity is a negative or bad or sinful desire. We came here into the human condition to experience the human condition. If we were going to just stay in a state of purity, we wouldn't have come down here. There wouldn't be any need for that. If you're having desires, who am I to say they're good or they're bad, they're positive, they're negative? I don't know. That's only something that you can decide for yourself through that internal investigation that we've been talking about today. I encourage you so much, whatever the deepest level of encouragement is, to do that inner questioning. It might be annoying, it might be frustrating, it might feel scary. You're not sure what you're going to find in there. Or maybe you're worried that if you find what the real thing is, if it's a deeper thing than that, then you will not be able to have the stuff you want or live an enjoyable life. Don't worry about that. We're here to enjoy life. We're here to taste the flavors, to listen to the music, to interact with others, to have the challenges, to get our fingers and just all the way up to our arms covered in mud and just dive in and enjoy ourselves while we're here. So enjoyment is part of it, and doing things for the sake of enjoyment is also part of why we're here. So don't spend too much time worrying about that. Bring it into meditation or your contemplation practice to see what feels right for you. And once you have gotten to that place of being connected to your divine inner wisdom, you're in a spot of stillness, you are coming from a place of mature spiritual growth, you are not acting from a place of fear, acting from a place of love, and you have that assuredness that, yes, this is the direction I'm meant to be going in, then take your inspired action towards your desire. And I wish you the quickest path to getting all your highest self is working to manifest through you via your desires.